Hi guys, how are you? I'm inviting a few people. I hope you do the same. I hope you join in, and as we discuss this topic, that received a lot of responses from the sentence that I wrote as a meme before. I hope that we could come together and we could discuss the mental challenges the collective consciousness globally is witnessing, how it's affecting them, and the solutions that we could implement, because things are about to get very detrimental for people who are caught up in a system that leaves them no outlet. So I'm inviting a few people. Please give me a few minutes to do this. How you guys doing? I like to speak to the collective conscious on a topic that we are all facing, and we are witnessing this. The topic is a mental breakdown that the mass population is facing, and it is happening to them. This is being discussed in many small circles, especially among the awakened consciousness, because it is a challenge. There are many people out there who have resources, and they are limited, because they are realizing that there's too many people that are going to be affected. And what do? We're seeing it now. We're seeing it in everyday, daily occurrences. We're seeing it the way people are handling their lifestyles as they interact in public. And you know that there's a split and there's a divide. And when we face these things, we have to understand that as we are facing them, where is our role not only to stay healthy, because it's difficult to do. It's difficult to stay healthy in times where the challenges that are being forced upon humanity breaks them into broken people who are searching for a way just to be normal. This is very difficult discussion, especially when we don't know all the answers and we're finding solutions. Solutions is what the awakened are bringing to the table. Rebecca, I love you too, but this discussion is something that we could speak privately. I get it, I understand, but this is not about Rebecca at the moment. But after this video, you could reach out to me and we could talk. The collective consciousness doesn't want to be here because life is too difficult at the moment. And people are facing trials and tribulations within their own families. They are witnessing their families being sucked in through addictions, through societies that leave them no choice, through ignorance, because their knowledge is limited. All these things are affecting people. All these things want people to come to terms about how society really works. And I'm going to say it again. because I didn't like the way I said it just now. People are facing trials and tribulations that are causing them to be afflicted by the pains that living on this planet has bestowed upon them. People are struggling in many different areas, and these struggles are causing people to mentally break down. And as a collective consciousness, as people who are aware, we see it more and more each day. What are our resources as a collective consciousness to tend to the most broken? What do we do as a collective consciousness when we realize that there will be people that are left behind for many different reasons, and they will be people who fall through the cracks? How do we tend our own people who have so much pressure on them and who have crossed lines that they are also shaken in their faith? These are things that are on the table. And to mentally be able to have a balanced attitude when times and struggles affect people on many different levels is something that we must discuss. We must be aware of what's happening, and there comes a time when we have to say, we don't do what society tells us to do. We have enough knowledge now to understand if we don't unite and come together, if we don't create the solutions for ourselves, that the solutions that are going to be implemented in the structure of our living groups will hurt us. Now, I could say it a million different ways, in a million different languages if need be, but the truth is that the breakdown of people because of the events that have happened is hitting them in many different ways, and mental illness is upon humanity. And what do we do? Because we are aware of it, and we are people who also turn around and we are going through our own daily lives. How do we get through it? How do we survive? You know, it is something that we all need to be aware of. We all need to understand that there are just some things that are out of our control. And if you're on this video tonight, and if you are thinking about the world events, and if you are part of a solution and your resources are low, and you are scanning world events, you have to be affected by it. And where does hope come in, and where does faith come in? And as we are being blessed to walk upon this earth and have structure and balance, what can we do to raise the vibration? You know, they say if a person knows nothing, they probably know something, and if a person claims to know everything, they probably know nothing. But the curious will always seek to find out an answer to a question that they have. They will go in unknown waters. People that don't want to do that will be sheep-like, and they will follow the protocol. We, as a collective, feel the need to talk about this because we live in a society where honest conversation is looked down upon, and there are people coming together, but the voice is limited. Absolute intelligent, honest dialogue is frowned upon. And as the collective consciousness wants to come into spirituality, a no-fix situation mostly occurs because the steps are going inside oneself are overlooked. Guys, you are witnessing and you are experiencing a revolution of consciousness and soul. It is imperative that the egotistic ideologies that keep us divided be put to the side as we seek the solutions and we tend to our tribe, because there are many good people that are hurting and need guidance. As we weed out the falseness, as we look for leadership that guides us in the right direction but does not impose upon us a way that takes us away from living. This is an enslaved planet. There is so much more to human beings than what we've become. If we don't talk about the mental illnesses that have been bestowed upon a human collective due to an elite society that has bent on taking away your rights, your livelihood, your ability to live as your birthright says that you should live, says how you should live, then why are we striving to get through it? That's a question only you guys can answer. We have seen so much in the last 2 years that now the full-fledged effects are being seen in everyday life through the insanity of the actions of people who are either committing crimes, instilling paranoid in the mindset of individuals, giving people no opportunity to think for themselves, and we are constantly influenced by corruption. This causes people to break down because the soul can only handle so many things. And while we are waiting for humanity to wake up, and if we are waiting for the Big Bang, I would say that what is really happening is right before us, and still we need a nudge. And still we need to come together and say, we have people hurting. What medicine do we have besides the poisonous medicines that are giving to humanity through Big Pharma? Why can't we talk about these things? We're the conscious elite, and we are striving to put things in an order that makes our people want to live instead of die. And we are witnessing this, and this is mental depression. So a few things that people want to bring to the table should be discussed in open honesty, and there should be solutions implemented, because we're living it day to day. And as we are living it day to day, we are feeling the effects of the struggle to stay in balance while we are feeling our way through our own emotions and lending a helping hand. You see people that are now openly criticizing the whole matrix, and instead of criticizing the matrix, know that we are part of the solution, and we have to step into that because it affects everybody in the mass population. And I kid you not, if you can maintain balance, there is a blessing that happens that even sometimes you don't know how it affects you at the right time. You don't know how it affects you at the right time because it happens so quick and you're all right. But you have to believe, you have to follow a certain synchronicity in your own heart and soul. Don't become soulless because you're losing sight of what consciousness really is. Really understand that there are people that are taking away your natural birthright. Your birthright to live on a planet where your intelligence and your act of faith coupled with you laboring for your own sustainability makes things happen. We're very dependent on the government, and I do understand that. It is something that the poorest of the poor need because sustainability has gone out the window for them. But that mindset hurts people because what happens is you live in this acceptability that these cultural things you want to break out of is just something that continues. There shouldn't be teen pregnancy. There shouldn't be abortions on the rise where people, instead of having to make those choices, can protect their bodies to begin with. Nobody should be violated. We should be able to question the government why certain things are happening. We are always bringing up these things because we are helping someone by saying, hey, look, teen pregnancy is on the rise. Instead of turning around and getting yourself pregnant, think about protecting yourself if you're active. What's wrong with that? Because when you make a teenager choose whether it's an abortion or keeping a baby, you never gave the choice to begin with because you bring mental anguish to our youth. We do as a collective consciousness. So that's an example how we can turn these illnesses around. Because with teenage depression and the pressure of being a mother or going through acts that maim the mind contribute to adults growing up and having no future. The collective consciousness is afraid that the governments can put warfare on us and a nuclear attack is going to happen. That would be quite foolish because that would be like the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. They will also have casualties that maim. So I don't think it's the nuclear threat that we have to worry about so much, although they put it in our minds. I believe it's the mental instability that's already bestowed upon mankind, and how do we take our power back? And as we take our power back, how do we turn around and how do we come forth into a situation where we heal the mental illness? There comes a time, even in our own life, Rebecca, and I have been reading the things that you have been saying, that we make these hard decisions. In certain situations, everything has been a yo-yo and a round robin. And maybe there's some things you just can't fix, my lady. And we could rewind all the choices that we made. If we could have done it over, we would have. But now there comes a time in our lives where if the pain is getting too much, we have to sometimes surrender to the fact that even though we try to make it better for others, and I'm assuming we're speaking about Polly now, that we have to seek something else. And I know in the UK, the medical system is a waiting list. Nothing is easy, and you know that. But everything is attainable. And that's going to be entirely up to you. Psychological warfare has been their weapon. And that's why people are breaking down mentally. That's why they're turning to drugs. That's why they have no financial back up. That's why they're dumbed down to believe they're nothing. There's a lot of things happening simultaneously. And those on a spiritual awakening have had enough time, when you are more seasoned, to put together solutions and talk about the challenges, because in order to hold a vibration of love and light, you have to come together and you have to understand what you're actually fighting for, what you're actually making plans for. I apologize because Rebecca threw me off a little bit, because I've been reading her comments and my thoughts have been elsewhere. And that's why sometimes I don't like to do lives like this, because it turns one way. And I don't want it to turn one way, but maybe it has to turn that way to show us how much people are hurting. And unfortunately, there's a pond between us. So that concerns me, because how do we help out people that we're not right there and we can't, be tangible? But these are the things we're dealing with. And I could say, yeah, it's going to get better, or I could say, this will help you or that will help you. But, that's a lie, because I don't know what's going to help unless we take the first step forward. And Spirit always does things for a reason, maybe to allow people to see just how others are hurting. Being spiritual and being uplifting and living a sentient way of life also comes with the reality of witnessing what we are experiencing through our own situation and through the experiences of others. And people now, because the 24th, again, I'll say it, is here, they feel it. They feel it. A lot of psychics are predicting nuclear threat. There's always been a nuclear threat when people have weapons of mass destruction. Again, if you go back to Sodom and Gomorrah, you will understand through the Sumerian texts what really happened and why that wouldn't be advantageous to the powers to be. But you're damn right, there is always somebody who's dangerous. But if you're the conscious elite, if you are here to make a change and your heart is in the right place, there comes a time that you leave behind the things that no longer serve you and you talk about the real problems. Because who is going to heal our people? Who is going to prepare medicine from the earth that is needed as a resource? You notice that there's a lot of marijuana shops popping up. That does not mean that it is the real medicine for our people from the harvest of the plant, right? And do you also remember where 15, 20 years ago, there were commercials, your brain on marijuana, and they used to fry an egg? They don't believe that anymore. They didn't even address that this is why the marijuana is good for the people. Come on, it's a crock of nonsense that goes out there. And that's why it's up to us to say, through the plant, through Mother Earth, through the other herbs that are available too, because it's not just marijuana. There's other herbs that cure everything. Do we have the resources? Do we know enough people who really practice that type of medicine? How do we heal the broken? Where is the conscious? Why can't the conscious heal themselves when they should? Why is the mindset that as soon as something goes wrong, the clock ticks backwards? When we believe in longevity, when we believe in youthfulness, where we believe in solving challenges instead of being defeated by them. And I want you all to just take notice and observe as you are out in your everyday lifestyle, and look at people and look at their eyes and look at the scarcity of life in most people, because it's so robotic. And then look at the people that are grateful, because you could tell the people that are humble, and then decide where you want to be. Because when you decide where you want to be, you can take action in the solution, because there's not one amongst us that aren't hurt in one way or another. And if you say, Teresa, how do you stay balanced? It's because I stay balanced. I remember the times when I was broken, right? And I remember the times when the lesson was human beings need to be human with each other. And I understand that to open up to the divine means that the process that I have went through allows me to be more calmer. But that does not mean I don't face challenges. What it means is that my mental stability is there because I trusted in a power bigger than I am, bigger than we are. And I didn't go off the deep end while I was researching, even though those things made me take a step back. You have a lot of leaders in this world that live a lifestyle of destruction, and they are out in the open, dividing, conquering, and diminishing humankind's spirit. It's up to you now to address what is happening and to come together as a unit and put these things that need to go forward in motion together. And we can do it. And it is something that we can experiment with, observe. Oh, okay. Yes, I see that you're talking to Rebecca. So it's a lot of things going on with Rebecca, and it's not just tonight. And Rebecca, you're strong. You have to pull it together, Mama. You have to pull it together. You've done it before. You pull it together in worse circumstances. And I could speak to you like this because you and I go back a long time. Pull it together. Breathe. Let it pass. Tomorrow morning comes and you deal with it in another way. It's okay to feel the way you feel. You've been through a lot. And there is resources for you. Call Gary. He's a hop and a skip away. He will come immediately to you. Namaste, my people. I have to get off here right now and I have to see what's happening with Bex. I'll continue this. And I'm sorry if the video got a little thrown off. I got a little thrown off. Namaste.